because I wanted to go to closures. Some what I'm getting from you. Number one, unlike Lumumba, Ofafa, and the first president was Maringo. What I'm getting is that Woodley does not have a problem with the project, first of all. Well, that's what I'm getting, and I might be getting it wrongly. He does not have a substantive project with the concession of the project. Number two, Woodley has gone to the extent of accepting the fate that this project will continue, right? But the eviction are not being done properly. Conversations around public participation, ongoing public participation, are not being done properly. But even the most sensitive one that I've gotten is that there is, in Woodley, a process has begun on allocation compensation. I got that. And that allocation compensation, some people have already received it, which I don't know from the governor's office or from the developer. I wanted to get to know that. But then there is 22 people who have also not gotten that allocation of compensation. And I'm just pointing those issues so that when governor, when you will be responding, you respond to specifics. How do you deal with those 22? Where is this money coming from? And how do you do dignified evictions where there is need to do that, with particularly the case for Woodley? Unless I haven't captured what Sam has said, Senator Chute, I'll give you 1 minute and then I can go to the last estate.
Thank you very much, Chair. My question is very specific and it goes to the Chair, Woodley Estate. Let me say, first of all, I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful that the issue with Woodley and Nairobi County is moving on well, not like Buxton Estate. Then the question comes to, this is a development which has a plan, a drawing, and my question would be, there is something in that agreement that should indicate there is work progress. I want to know if the chair has a work progress and the units that are identified for the 43 members, if I'm not wrong, and also the completion period of that project, if it is in the contract and if he has a copy of that contract. That includes those 3 items.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I do not have concrete evidence of any allocation letter. I do not know, because I think what they were doing is that they were dealing directly with each individual tenant, and the 22 who signed are the ones who have these documents, and these documents were not given to the rest of us to peruse and see. So that, in terms of knowing exactly what was discussed between the developer, the county, and the tenant, the information we who are outside that 42 is very scanty.
Chair. Just a supplementary, kindly.
Senator Sige, please
yes,
go ahead.
A supplementary to that, to the Chair for Woodley. I believe, Chair, that Sam is here to represent those 22 amongst others, right, in Woodley Estate. So would it be in order to request him to get that information if he doesn't have it, because he's representing them? I'm sure they know that he is sitting here in this meeting today. It would have been great if that documentation was with him now, but can that be received or sought from the 22 so that we can move with the concrete data in front of us, Chair?
Governor, take a serious note on that.
But the MOU is in the documents you have, Chairman.
And you will respond.
It is in the documents.
It's part of the response that you'll make. I'm just telling you to take note on those concerns.
Chair, I wanted to give a clarification for the sake of the question that was asked by Senator Sige.
Okay.
For me, from where I sit, the problem between the Woodley residents and the county government is a communication problem. That, Governor, your officers are unavailable or unwilling to sit down with people in the estates and our voters whenever they raise issues. I'm holding here, Chair. There's a letter dated 28th April 2025 that was sent to me by Sam Gashago, claiming they are unable to meet with Lydia Mathia and Mbogo there. I remember giving Mbogo a call, and he assured me that he would have a conversation with them. This is not supposed to be how it is, because everybody who serves in the county government of Nairobi is a public officer. You should be available to have conversations with the residents of Nairobi, especially surrounding such important matters. Personally, the dispute, as I understand it, Senator Crystal Asige, is that there needs to be a reconciliation on how much money Sam is claiming to have paid and what the county government claims to have received, because of the various forms that have of payments that have been there in the city over the years. Somebody claims, I sent money to these life forms, I sent money to this account. When NMS came, there was even greater confusion as to who was receiving money where. Now, that reconciliation cannot happen in the Senate, for heaven's sake. That conciliation is not going to happen in Sifuna's office, which is why, Governor, your officers, I don't have the records, surely, of who has paid rent and who hasn't paid rent. Those records are in the county government. Let these officers make our lives a bit easier. I would like to go a month without receiving a letter from Woodley, please. Or at least if they write to me a letter, let it be inviting me to a bash or something like that. It can't be just the same things over and over. So for me, that is my understanding of the problem. And this is a challenge we will put to the governor. Instruct your officers to be willing to meet with the residents.
And Senator Sifuna, I know Governor is itchy.
No.
Governor.
How do you know how my skin is feeling?
Not to respond to this, what Senator said, but Governor, I think that the issue of communication, I talked about it. I think we saw when Agesa was presenting, we saw when John was presenting, the constant confrontation is lack of engagement. I call it larger engagement, but it's communication problem, and I think that this one can be solved.
I think even civic education, because rent reconciliations are done every single day. They're not done by the chief officer or by a CEC. Today, if you walk in, we have so many tenants. Rent reconciliation is done every day at our customer service center. It's a routine administrative thing. It's not for a meeting with the cabinet or with CECs, you know. But if it's a bulk, I've sent you a document because Senator Sige asked, what do I know that you don't know? I've sent you a schedule of all rent arrears in Woodley. Just peruse, and you will see from the top. You'll understand what is going on.
That's fine. That's in order, Chair.
But
It's here. But also, I would request the governor, if he's making a verbal submission, that he should refer to his own documents rather than saying, I know and he knows, so that we all can also know.
Like which one?
Anytime you submit, Governor, my request humbly is that you just point us to the specific volume, the page, so that we can also follow.
Yeah, but not everything I say is in a document. You know, we're having a discussion.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, can I just say one last thing?
Yes, Sam.
Now, I get the feeling that the governor is just getting back at me for having raised this issue. Yes, because I don't know, but anyway, I'll give you
Sam, wait.
Yes.
This is a committee of the Senate.
Yes.
When someone is talking, give them a listening. I will give you time to respond, because you have got that right. Please don't exchange.
But
please go ahead. And I also told you, Sam, you're talking through the chair. Okay, don't address the governor. Okay, but go ahead. I'm listening.
Chair. A case in point, and this is why I brought this up, is that I thought I'd have the list, the governors here, but it's turned out anyway. Some time ago in the 1992, our whole estate was sold. It was sold to non-tenants. And from 1992, we took up the fight to protect our estate. And the government did not come to our aid. The city council did not come to our aid. It culminated in 2019 with a ruling by Justice Okongo declaring any titles given in respect to Woodley Estate as being null and void. You understand? Now, what has happened is there were about 20-odd people who claimed they had bought the houses. So between that time, they were not paying rent because they said they had titles. These are the people he is claiming have arrears of 3, not even 1 million. They have 4 million shillings in arrears. And now to come out and tell that person, pay that 4 million now or else I kick you out, I think it's just not right. You understand? So there is a group of people, I think there are about 15 people, who accumulated because they thought they had bought the houses, they thought they owned the houses. And they even took the county to court on several occasions. But they lost out. Now these people have come to us as the leaders of the community to ask if that is why we were seeking some dialogue with the county. Can we sit down and do a structured, repayment method so that we could pay? Because where is somebody today going to get 4 million shillings from? And he has been a tenant for the past 40, 50 years. You understand? That is why I'm telling you I was appealing to the governor and his people to sit down so that we can come up. I don't think anybody has refused to pay rent. Maybe there may be economic hardship or financial hardships which are creating this kind of situation. The next thing is that there were issues that we had in the 1990s, whereby we were asked by the court to deposit money in court, right? Like I personally I've had deposited 700,000 shillings in court, and that money is never reflected in my invoices that the county sends me. I would like that. I'd like that reconciliation done so I know how much I need to pay. Number 2, Governor Sonko in 2018 gave the residents of Nairobi what you call a rent waiver. And this rent waiver was gazetted. After its gazettement, the county then took it up and even wrote a letter saying that we will be paying rents from 2019, 1st of May. You understand? Now, when we approach the county...
Point of order, Chair.
Yeah.
Yes, Senator
Chair, I think
Chute.
what the Chair is saying, I totally agree with him. But what we need to do is he can talk to the county and reconcile those issues, because we cannot do anything now for him here. I think that's the best thing to do. Again, the issue... Sorry? Yeah, yes. Say it.
No, I actually think there's an emerging complexity here that is very important, and I think Senator Sifuna spoke to it slightly, but Senator Sige also brought it out very strongly. Because as I said, I'm taking you back with a blue heart of closure on some issues. It is emerging that this issue of reconciliation is a very serious one.
Chair, you can direct both parties to sit.
Just a moment. As a Senate, these conversations were also part of it because we are already here. And there are documentation that will come from this Senate. The reason why I'm saying that this issue of reconciliation is actually a substantive issue is because you are seeing a number of reasons that are coming out with people not paying this rent. And remember, the reason why we're having this conversation, ultimately, is that when this regeneration happens, people must be given houses. So there will be questions even of what does the county government do with the people who owe you 4 million and they're in those houses? Do they qualify for those houses? Do they pay first and then get them? So there's that complexity. So that I just wanted the governor to take note of that issue of reconciliation as a substantive issue of the Senate that must be addressed. That's all I wanted to say. So Sam, I want to cut you there so that I can have the last.
Can I just finish
because
off?
Of time. I've given you so much time.
No, just 2 sentences so that you understand.
Okay. Please, 1 second.
No, I mentioned to you the issue of the waiver, the rent waiver, which when you go to ask, you're thrown to the Senate. And we are told that the Senate discussed this and they asked the county, if you give this waiver, who is going to pay for this money? So they tell us that is why they give the issue of rent waiver a wide berth. But for us, we understand this is the gazetted rent waiver is a legal document. So that should be implemented.
Okay, fair enough. I want to leave that at that. Governor, just take note that that reconciliation with all those complaints that have been mentioned is an important one. I want to give the chair of
Am I able to catch
new.
your eye? Maybe you're not seeing my mic or something. I don't know.
Senator, I'm also trying to just manage time as well. In as much as I think I've been very lenient. I want to give. I think it's a different.
I have a question to ask. Chair, I have a question to ask, if you allow me.
Please go ahead.
Please. You know, we have listened to Sam, and he says he represents the Woodley Development Initiative. Is that right? Do you know of Woodley Residents Association? Woodley Residents Association.
There is no Woodley Residents Association. There's Woodley Residents Welfare Society.
Okay. Yeah. What's the connection between the two?
Which one?
The Development Initiative.
Oh, that. The Woodley Residents Welfare Society was established in 1994, and from 1996 up to 2004, I was the chairman. I've been running Woodley Community Affairs for 28 years. And
in short, do the two associations exist? Do they do the same thing?
I don't know. No,
they don't.
They don't do the same thing. One is anti-redevelopment. They clamor to buy the houses. They want to buy the houses that they are living in.
Right. And the other
we support the redevelopment.
Okay. That's okay.
That's okay. I do know that the new Pumwani estate, that's the next, right? I don't think from the briefing that I have, there is a regeneration that is going on. I don't think so. But because they're in the Senate, this is their house, I'll give the chairperson, perhaps just to highlight on some of the issues that you might also be having, related or unrelated, and then you'll allow me to give the governor opportunity to. There's a lot of things that have been raised. Then the governor, I'll give you the opportunity, governor, to respond to some of the issues that you might see fit, and then we as Senate will give you some resolutions to take home. Which estate are you from?
From Jericho, but we have one very important question to the governor that has not been mentioned.
I'm coming back to you. Let me just finish with
Thank you.
With New Pumwani. New Pumwani, I'm going to give you half the time. Just 5 minutes, kindly.
Okay, thank you so much, and I beg for your indulgence to the esteemed House Committee and the Executive.
Just a minute, Sam, kindly switch off your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Now, in respect to, Jackson Lee Muturi Kimani, the Chairperson, California State Residence Committee, New Pumwani Estate. In respect to New Pumwani Estate, it's more so to do with the petition that we raised in the year 2023 to the attention and to the office of the executive, that is the governor. Now it's best that we understand why and how we were informed to take that course of action. The issue of redevelopment, as rightly pointed out, started in the year 2018. And New Pumwani Estate was among the estates that were earmarked back then. That was under Rail Plan Consultants. We underwent a very comprehensive 2-year consultative forum with the Rail Plan Consultants. That was a public participation. And there is a document, a very voluminous document that was published in the year 2019 with a report and the findings and the conclusion in respect to New Pumwani Estate. If you'll give me time, I'll just read an excerpt of, it is a final plan report, Urban Renewal Plan, Volume 2, that was submitted in the 19th of September 2019. in respect to New Pumwani Estate, the proposed land use for New Pumwani largely retains the existing land use structure. The housing developments in New Pumwani are being retained. The proposed redevelopment approach is thus renovation. And we were comfortable with that findings, and we were comfortable with that conclusion, and there was no issue. But we were taken aback when in the year 2021, we just came across an advert published by the then Nairobi Metropolitan Services indicating that California is part of the urban regeneration program, and we are scheduled to have a public participation meeting on the 17th of February 2021, Pumwani Social Hall. We were taken aback because there is a document which is freely downloadable, which was even tabled in the Nairobi City County Assembly back then. So we said, no harm, let us go and find out what is going on. There was no public participation. We were just informed. Go prepare yourself, we are coming to redevelop. So the course of action we took at that time, we wrote several objection letters to several ministries, and I think I was able to submit most of those copies to this esteemed house back then when we were having this session. Now, it was like bulldozing this agenda. And the questions we are asking, what was the purpose and intention of having a comprehensive 2-year public participation forum, not just engaging the entity, but a consultant? And I'm sure a consultant is not just Penimbili. Those people are paid a lot of money. Now, out of these fears, whereby we have evidence that they are attempting to redevelop California, but we don't have any evidence that New Pumwani Estate California has been removed from that listing up to date. I'm surprised that during the presentation of the clerk, they stated that they have a document stating that California is no longer under redevelopment, but we, as the affected persons, we don't have such a documentation. So that is what informed us to draft the petition.
Very, very well said.
Yes.
There are two issues
Yes.
that I'm seeing, but I understand as perhaps to chime in on what you've just raised. Mm-hmm. But there are two issues that I've heard from you. Number one is whether or not you are part of the program.
Yes.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Governor, you can take note of that. But I also wanted to know whether or not you want to be part of the program. Those are two different things. As an association, you want to establish whether or not you're part of the program, and if so, where are you standing in this understanding? Is it a future engagement and all that? Governor can answer that. But one of the issues that have come from a number of associations, as you have had here, is also the hesitance of being in part of the program. So from your own view, what is the status report from your residents? Do they feel like this is something that they welcome, but they would want to engage more? Or is there a problem even with the conception of the regeneration program?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Now, to begin with, we are skeptical. We have our own fears, and we raised our own fears, because we asked ourselves, New Pumwani Estate, unlike other estates, it has its own challenges. That is the proximity to that military installation, and those were technicalities that knocked out New Pumwani Estate from the word go. So we said we cannot sanctify an illegality, because public participation are now used to sanctify illegalities in this Republic of Kenya. So we said we are not going to be part of it. We are not comfortable with this program. The way it is being implemented, you have all these estates have raised issues, and there are issues which have weighty concerns, and we asked ourselves, if a consultant certified that these buildings, they're fairly modern. Number two, these buildings, according to the architect, they say that optimum land use has been done to the maximum. Number three, if it in terms of the structure, they're very sound, more than any other estate that Nairobi City County government owns in this Nairobi City County. Number 4, and they are very, the report said, fairly modern, which means they all require renovation. Recently, in the year 2017, they were repainted. Just that one factor of being repainted, they almost looked new. So that's why we said, why don't we then own? We don't want to own them for free, because we don't want to affect, there's that, the financial aspect of the financial bill with the county government. If you do something that will be contrary to, which will affect their budget making processes, it will be negative to us. So we said, why don't we now then convert the existing rent? We don't backdate. Existing rent, we start a new chapter, convert it into mortgage, convert it into TPS. They have the enabling legislation, because in New Pumwani Estate, we have TPS flats, which are intertwined.
So you want to do that to own in the current status or to own in the redevelopment?
No, we own in the current status as they are.
I think your point is home. I want to give senators, if perhaps they have got concern on that. But Governor, there is an issue there of value for money that Kimani, right, is trying to bring out, that there is feasibility studies that have been done. You know, there's a contractor who was engaged. There was 2 years public participation on the renewal of the new Pumwani estate. So at what point did it get expunged from this program, and what then becomes of the costs that were incurred in those processes? I think that's a substantive question that you can respond to at that time. What's the name again? Duncan, yes, from Ofafa, right?
Yes, from Ofafa, Jericho.
Ofafa, Jericho.
Yes, and...
just literally under 1 minute, because you're pressed of time and I've given you so much time as an estate.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, kindly, please. Chair,
who is talking?
Jackson Kimani. I just had one more issue to raise, please, kindly. I beg for indulgence. Fine,
I'm really pressed of time.
Yes, I understand.
But I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in respect to now the final report that your clerk presented when she was doing the update status, in her records, she has a document which she said is not signed. We went for a meeting. There are no minutes of the meeting. There are no signs. There's no attendance sheet, which says that New Pumwani Estate is no longer in the redevelopment. But unfortunately, with me here physically, I have a document that states otherwise. So I'm asking, so
what is the otherwise? What is the otherwise? Just state it. What is the otherwise? Just state it.
There is a document that was drafted by County Secretary and Head of County Public Service, which states that urban renewal will henceforth schedule engagement between the county officers and yourselves through a public participation forum on the redevelopment project, as well as development of projects proposals for request of proposals to eligible and qualified developers. This was done 3rd of September 2024.
Well taken. The committee takes note, and I hope the governor also takes note. Duncan?
Thank you, Chair. My question is to the governor, because at the last session on the 18th of March, he's on the query as to whether they had title to the land in Ofafa, Jericho, Lumumba, and Maringo. He said they didn't have, but they have a reservation. Now it has been presented to you that we have a dispute with the NCCG at the NLC. So the question comes up: how did they get a reservation that the NLC doesn't know about, yet it is the reserving body as per the Constitution?
Okay.
Then, just to correct Madam CCO, she's saying contractors are the ones who will enable public participation. I want to correct her and inform her to check Section 114 of the County Government Act that expressly states public participation is mandatory for any development of nationally significant value. Any. So it is not for contractors to bring about public participation. It is for them who have the project in hand as the county government to bring the public participation to the people.
Very well.
And just one more.
I gave you 1 minute, remember, because
Please,
I know
understand.
that all the issues that you're raising had actually been raised.
Just one more.
And I noted them from your chair. So they were actually all conversed. In fact, if I'm fair, I should actually be giving that a minute to a lady.
Chair, let me just give him the final one. Please be very brief.
Yeah, very brief.
Need answers.
Very brief. There is, because of lack of public participation, we don't have MOUs, we don't have anything. Okay. So we must start from there.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you.
I think it would be very unfair for these residential representatives to come here and the amazing ladies who have come with you, and I've just listened to all your leadership being men. I want to give an opportunity to any lady who is among the residentials who might have a word or two or a concern to raise before I come back to the governor. I really want to hear Ama. Yes, I really want at least one voice to be represented. But at least I gave the opportunity.
Chair.
Oh, just a moment. Who is that saying chair? Please, go ahead.
Okay, the last time we had a meeting with the county, with the...
You say your name and where?
Sorry, my name is Kezia Kihara. I'm treasurer at the Marigo Tenants Association. So the last time that we had a meeting with the county planning committee, it was resolved that they put forward a name for Varoya, and as we give, but to resolve the issue of ownership, but to date they haven't given the name. Also, Chair, we would like the county or the governor to tell us or to put it clear. Like in Maringo, there was a time they came, Kiboi came and he posted letters on our walls, on our windows, that people to come and present documents to City Hall. And a few people came, and those are the 74. So we are wondering, okay, they called it a public participation. Is that the evaluation of the tenants? Or how are they going to give? Okay, they are saying they are going to give us the house or the units. So is that the list that they are going to use, or so they have the list of the 310 people that that we own the 310 houses in Maringo?
Thank you so much, Kezia, and thank you for representing the voices that really. I'm going to give the governor opportunity to respond to these issues. Governor, try and make it as concise as you can. I know there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of issues that have been raised.
There are many issues.
But I'm giving you the time, and then we'll see how we go from here.
Chair, I've listened to issues for quite a number. They want answers, and it will be wrong for me not to answer what has been raised. Chair, let me start by thanking the residents' associations and the representatives of tenants for this discussion. It's a very important discussion because, Chair, the county government has a mandate to execute what is within its functions in the 4th schedule. And the county government will execute its mandate. So long as it is lawful, the county government will execute its mandate to the people of Nairobi. The first thing I must say, Chair, county property, because I've had somebody saying the issue of trustees, that we're only trustees. It is true. The county government holds all the property in trust for the people. Not the people of Jericho or the people of Woodley, but the people of Nairobi in their entirety. If the people of Nairobi, through their delegated responsibility, want Woodley to become a stadium, all of it, it will become a stadium. Or if they want a change, if there's a different plan, the people of Nairobi, if there are 2,000 more people who want to come and live where there are 20, and it is legal, we have the power to execute that. That we must get very clearly, Chairman. Number two, I've had many questions, and I don't know where Gashago has gone to. He's here. About not having seen me. When we invite you for meetings and you don't come, and it's the same with many of them. I don't know where else we need to be seen, because we've invited these chairs for meetings. I personally invited Jericho for a meeting on the 7th of April to meet me, not anybody else. If I read you the contents of that letter, just open it. The content of the letter is for a public participation forum and engagement with Hechi, the governor. That was the letter we wrote. But Chair, we have a problem where the leadership of these associations do not want us to associate with the people directly. And you need to know that we can associate with the people directly and also through you. There are tenants. A landlord can engage with the tenant at any time. Chair, that meeting was turned into chaos. The people in this room who came to stop it, there were placards, they brought goons. We just kept quiet. We have sent another letter, because, Chair, what they're going to do is to prevent their residents from actually getting what the government is offering. What we're doing is an offer. You know, we're offering that this is what we're going to redevelop this place. You should, you know, partner with us, take this amount of money, go, and then once you're out, when you come back, you'll receive your property. It is not mandatory for us to do that, Chair. It is not at all. If you look at the national projects, people are being given a small amount and with no guarantee at all. You're being given a guarantee and a title and a house, you know, Chair. So I think that magnanimity, or maybe that's the wrong word, but the goodwill being extended by the county government must be responded to, Chair. Chair, the letter was dated 3rd April. As you to Jericho Estate tenants, each tenant got this letter. As you may be aware, the county intends to redevelop most of the old estates, etc. The governor recognizes your very important role in this process as key stakeholders and invites all tenants of Jericho Estate for public engagement for a Monday, 7th April, Charter Hall. That's an invite. How else, when they keep saying no public participation, how else do you want public participation? When you're invited by the governor himself and you don't attend. Yeah? When Agashago invited Woody residents, you didn't come. Yourself. I don't know how else. Sorry, let me not do that. But
please, I had cautioned that we don't exchange, and Governor, you know the rules of the House.
So, Chair, there are many instances where we've invited the chairs for engagement, but you've heard very well what one of the chairs has said, that when these committees were formed, the county or NMS then was supposed to engage only through that committee. Chair, that is completely wrong. Even in terms of us as representatives, Article 1 says that the people are the sovereign power is with the people and they can exercise it directly. You cannot then be a group of people blocking us from our tenants and from the residents.
Governor, can I just find out, why not have that meeting in Jericho?
Because people who are not residents of Jericho will come.
I thought the residents are there. If you want to meet directly with them, you go there.
You cannot have a controlled meeting there. And I would ask you to try.
You are a government. I have had a meeting there. I went there when they had kicked out the officers, and we actually had a meeting.
Chair, we can meet them wherever. There, you see, they were kicked out. In fact, when the chair was speaking, he said, we did not allow anybody else from the county government to speak. Chair, we can, City Hall is there also. We can meet them anywhere, Chair, that we deem fit to.
No, I was just following your train of thought about direct engagement. And this is my advice. You are a government. You have kicked out people from markets. You have enforcement officers. You can have a meeting in Jericho.
I hear your suggestion, but it's a decision that we have to make.
Okay, you know? It's a recommendation.
It's a recommendation.
I'll be available for that meeting.
We can
invite me.
And Chair, we can find 10,000 people there. It is okay. We will engage. We're also politicians, Chair. We're a government, but we're also very astute politicians in this city. And Chair, for as many people as you hear representing here saying they're not for a project, you have an equal number saying they're for the projects. You have an equal number as those you've called. In fact, if we do another meeting next Tuesday, I can get representatives from the same estates to come and say that they want it to start. So at what point, Chair, does public participation stop and does the government execute? Because if you wait for 100% concurrence on any project, you will not do it. You will never do it. That is by, just generally. If we waited for 100% concurrence on Woodley, we would not have moved. In fact, if there was a need for concurrence in 1949 for these estates to be developed, they would not have been developed. Because there were people there who didn't want it. The people of Nairobi are 7 million people. If they feel a need for housing, 1,000 people in one estate or 200 people will not stop it. So long as it is being done lawfully, Chair, we will go on. Let me go to the specific questions. New Pomwani, I've had the petition on the issue. I just want people to understand, when you're a tenant and the courts have set a precedent, the court has ruled on it, you are a tenant, the landlord can do whatever they deem fit with that property, provided he's doing it within the law. When you talk about county assembly approval, it's a county assembly that has approved all these projects in the CIDP. The county integrated development plan has listed these projects. So the county assembly has approved. Once you approve a budget in Senate, for instance, does the CS come for each and every single project to seek a motion to approve? No. But you've approved the medium-term economic framework, you've approved the budget policy statement, projects are inside the BPS, and that is how it was approved. And they've said they've had engagements even with NMS, even before NMS. So I just want to disabuse the notion of no public participation. The meetings, and there's a schedule here you have in your folders of 25th, is it 25th February or 25th what? May 2023. It was a public advertisement. It was on all the papers. It was posted in all these estates. If you choose not to attend, you cannot say there was no public participation. And in those public participation meetings, we have the video. We can share video. We can share. Because we have our media team that records those meetings. Even the press comes to those meetings. So you cannot say that public participation will only happen the way you feel it should happen as an individual. The people were very happy. In fact, if you look at our report, we have verbatim what people said word for word in those meetings. The questions that people, please allow.
Just 1 minute, Governor. No, just a minute.
May I just request that we let the governor present.
Just a minute, Chair. Because, Governor, we had been guided that we need to follow the submissions with the documentation you have given us. In fact, I want to refer you to your report, that public participation report. And we had covered this last time, and you had promised to make some corrective measures. I don't want you to feel like I'm interrupting your flow of thought. If you look at the public participation report submitted by yourself in Lumumba, for instance, it is at page 31 of your report on public participation. It is clear what the residents told you, and they say, your own remarks there say the objective for this public participation was not met. And if I can run your memory a bit, in the last meeting we had, you made a commitment yourself that you will engage these residents of Lumumba, the residents of Jericho,
yes,
as many times as possible.
Yeah.
So is it really fair from that perspective of your own report to say that there has been effective public participation, at least in Lumumba?
But Chair, I have just explained that I then further invited them for a meeting. Part of what could have caused it not to be effective would have been the venue. But I invited them to come to Charter Hall, and residents came, but they were being stopped by the leadership. They came, but they were being blocked. They were being threatened. Those who would sign the register were being threatened. Chair, let me just tell you, under no uncertain terms, will anyone come in between us and the residents of the city? No one. No one. No individual. No individual. Just because you've been elected as a chair, you're holding that position also in trust for these people. The people who've come directly to us saying, please, we want to sign this thing. This thing has taken too long. Our people, I don't want another deal behind, I don't know what it is. But no individual, you cannot create, I don't want to call it brokers, but you cannot create another layer between us and our tenants. The tenants pay rent directly. There's no tenancy agreement that recognizes an association. These associations were formed by the county to make things easier, not things more difficult. You know, so Chair, that one, under no uncertain terms will we do that. So let me go to specifics. New Pomwani, and that's what I was explaining, and the senator came in. Some of it is TPS, tenant purchase scheme. The county government is your landlord. The courts have pronounced themselves, Bonagashago, that the county government can make a determination based on its plan where it sees this thing going. You know, that in the next 20 years, possibly, we need to bring down even those houses and build a hospital. If that is a decision we make through our cabinet, through our whatever processes in the county government, it will be made. People should not be entitled to these houses. Even if I was living in that, if I'm living in a house today that is not mine, it has a landlord, I will listen to what he's saying, so long as I have my rights under the tenancy agreement, whether it is months in lieu of notice, whether it is Now, at least since it's public, there's public participation, but I don't think my landlord will give me public participation or any issue. But let us understand that. I know people are emotive about these houses. You've stayed there for long. Your relatives have been there for long, but please understand what the law is. There is no obligation by the county or by the law. There is no obligation for you to remain staying there or for those houses to remain as they are. They cannot. And it will be a squandered opportunity for us where we're seeing a place where we can increase housing, we can redevelop the place, not to do it. So, Chair, that is our position as a county government. That has been the position during NMS. That has been the position even before when urban renewal was started by the city council, the first county government of Governor Kidero, the second county government of Governor Sonko, where the first ones now to implement, in addition to the two estates that already started, Jivanji and Park, and we will do it, Chair. Number two, I like the question that Senator Wambua, was it Chute, asked about the associations. Some estates have many formations. There's Woodley residents, there's Woodley welfare. Bwana Kashago has been there for a long time. You know, he's 28 years is not a short time, and he has a lot of this history. But always know that for as many as centers you'll get dissenters. If as leaders or those of us in executive position would wait for 100% concurrence to execute anything, we would never move, Chair. We would never. The issue of waiver, the rent waiver that was issued at that time in 2019 was actually deemed to be an illegal waiver. There's a city waivers, there's a waivers procedures law. The governor cannot issue a waiver. Even the ones you see where we have our photos on TV and rent whatnot, it says it's actually the CC Finance who is allowed to issue a waiver, and the waiver is for a period and for a reason. So and that one was really targeted at market stalls. You know, the stalls like Kenyatta Market, that the ones which are beyond the TPS stalls. That's what it was targeted. But what I know, there was an issue with that waiver that was then issued by the governor and the gazettement. Something being gazetted doesn't make it legal. A gazette notice is just a publication. You can gazette something that is illegal. But a gazette notice is a form of informing the public. Yes, gazettement does not give things the force of law. I have been in this house for 10 years. I know what I'm talking about. A sessional paper does not confer ownership. A gazette notice cannot confer ownership. There are only a number of ways through which you get ownership of land in this country. It cannot be an MOU. An MOU does not give you land. It doesn't. There are specific ways. Look at the land laws. Look at the laws of this country that give you land. The title deed of Jericho, Lumumba and Maringo, we have the title deed of 290 acres. What I said we were processing is a reservation for the specific housing projects in the specific areas. So that your JV vehicle, your joint venture vehicle between us and the developer, then holds that particular reservation, or for lack of a better word, let's even say a specific title. NLC has moved into the reservation space because now we're the lessor and the lessee. We can't lease land to ourselves. You know, you cannot be the lessor and the lessee. So that is why, and it'd be good for you to speak to NLC. Also, please know, NLC does not own any land. It does not own land. NLC manages land on behalf of the county government and the national government. But they, within themselves, do not own land. They cannot give anyone an allotment of county land if the county has not approved so. That is in Article 62 of our Constitution. That is in Chapter 5. That is in our Land Act. Even the Physical Land Use Planning Act. Please know that. So even when you go, even when people, the leases expire, and I'll give you an example, national government leases that have expired in Nairobi, national government institutions, and they go for renewal, the NLC has to write to the county government to see if the county government accepts or rejects or has another plan for that land. So I think let us be very clear about that, and that is why the courts have pronounced themselves repeatedly. Now on Woodley, because I'm starting backwards, coming forward. There was a meeting on the 26th of February 2024, but you have told me you were under the weather, pole sana. But I took members of Woodley through the project. I showed them the diagrams, the architectural. I explained to them what this program is about. We sat with them, 20 of them signed on out of the 43. And those who signed on were then given compensation because the rest took us to court. When they took us to court, you have taken us to court, meaning you have not accepted what we are offering you. So we could not engage. The case was dismissed with costs, by the way. In fact, that was unprecedented. I've never seen a case where the public have gone to court and it's dismissed with costs. They were supposed to pay the county. Well, we started engaging again, and because I gave instructions that it is not fair, even if they've gone to court. Going to court is your right as a Kenyan. The same way coming to the Senate is your right as a Kenyan. I said, yes, they've gone to court, but still, since the case has been dismissed and they've lost it, if those who are willing to come, please come, let them come, and we give them the exact same offer of the 900,000 shillings, which is unheard of in our history. I don't know if you have any example of a tenant giving you 900,000 to go pay rent elsewhere and come back and you get a house for free and your allotment letter. They went to the Court of Appeal. So for those 20 residents, we were waiting for them. We will not engage them on the compensation and the allotment if they're still in court, because that then jeopardizes our position. It jeopardizes our position as of now. But we are willing, if they come out of that process, it's their right. It's their right. You know, it's their right. On lot 2 and lot 3, I think.
Is that the 22 that were mentioned?
The ones who didn't, yeah, the 22
the 22 that I mentioned.
That I mentioned.
Okay.
If any of them wishes to get out of it individually, they'll come and we'll process their payment, and we'll give them the allotment letter. The chief officer has given me an example of the allotment letter. I hope you can give the clerk so that it can be distributed. The second thing about Woodley, the issue of rents. I don't think we should belabor this. Rent reconciliation, Chair, is a daily process. I would invite you to just come one day visit City Hall Annex, our customer service center. There is an entire desk just on rent reconciliations. Somebody from Umoja, they have an issue with when they paid or it didn't go to this account, it didn't happen well. Somebody from Kariobangi. We have so many houses, you know, as a county government. There's always an issue. So it's a normal thing. It is all done wholesale because there is no wholesale tenant. Our tenancy agreement legally is between an individual and the county government. So that is done regularly. But I want to implore upon our people, because if you look, for instance, at Woodley, the kind of houses you're talking about, they're not like Jericho and Maringo and the rest. Woodley is a house on an acre, even half an acre, with plush compound. I know because I have lived there, Chair. A rent of 10,000 shillings. If you don't pay rent of 10,000 shillings in such a property, 17,000, that's a big difference. You know, for half an acre in Nairobi, in that part of Nairobi, rent is minimum 150,000 shillings. The same services we want as Nairobians, they're not paid for by stones or by mangoes. They're paid for by these amounts of money. Everybody should carry their part of, you know, everyone should carry their weight. And it's very unfair, because you have this middle-class citizens, so to speak, in Woodley, whom I have even relatives who live there, but who do not pay for 170 months. Just look at the schedule I've sent you. The highest is 1.8 million. It's not 4 million. There's no 4 million owing. The highest is 1.8. That period when there was an issue in court, we removed that period. The highest is 1.8 million. You refuse to pay rent. Somebody today in Mathare has no door in the house because they have not paid 2,000 shillings. In some places, they even remove the roof, or they lock you out when you're late by just one day. So we're saying there are potholes in the city. We're saying there's garbage, but we don't want to pay. Really, we cannot have your cake and eat it. We cannot have our cake and eat it. And so what is the procedure? For everyone in our county houses who is not paying rent, you will be evicted. That is what will happen. You'll be evicted for others to come and give value to the people of Nairobi. Those houses don't belong to me. They belong to all the people of Nairobi who want services from those houses. And they do not belong to you. They belong to the people of Nairobi. We are holding them in trust for them. So yes, there's been a first notice was given earlier in the year. Another notice has been given. There's a statutory time period, you know, and I think maybe the place the Senator was referring to was the Tax Appeals Tribunal or somewhere. There are entities that can also come and negotiate on your behalf, but kila mtu alipe pande yake, so that we can develop our city together, because we need to develop our city. In fact, is it this morning or yesterday on radio, I had Fred Obachi Machoka saying he saw a lot of trash near Camp Toyo, garbage. To fill those trucks, to collect that trash, is the rent you pay. There's no other source of money. Even equitable share comes from taxes. On the issue of Jericho, Chair, it is the county's position, no matter how many meetings we have, that land belongs to the county. We have the title deed for that land. There has been the story that there was an agreement with Israelis that after so many number of years, that the land reverts to the people or the houses reverts to the people. You, as a Senate, have repeatedly asked for that documentation. I have asked for it when I was Senator here. The documentation has never been availed. There is no such agreement. Because it would be a condition in the title. The title deed of Ofafa Jericho and Lumumba and Maringo is a 1954 title. It's a 1954 title deed. The 1954 title deed on the second page would have had conditions that this land then reverts after 27 years without any need for surrender thereof. That's how it's written in titles. There is no such thing. You know, I believe there was. They will tell you we met them. When I was senator and when I was campaigning as well, they said 22, 25, 27. I know that story. But there is no documentation. However, Chair, you have the powers as the chairman of this committee to ask the Israelis through their mission if they have any documentation to bring to you about what that arrangement was. Because me, I've looked in City Hall. You know, when they say there's something I should have availed that I'm not availed, you cannot avail a document that does not exist. It is simply not there. There was no such arrangement. Because if that happened, the land, the 290 acres, would have been transferred automatically at the expiry of that period, Chair. So, when you really think about it, my people of Jericho, and the residents, and I hope the residents are hearing directly, the thing that you want to secure is your right to a house. I have said not just Jericho, Woodley, Ziwani, Maringo, Kariobangi South, I will give you a house. What else do you want? I don't understand, Chair. If you've gotten that unit, in fact, let the negotiation be, is it a 2-bedroom like one I have? Is it a 3-bedroom? Is it, you know, what kind of unit is it? I admit, my people can do better in terms of, you know, I tell them communicate also with pictures and whatnot, but when the leadership are creating a hostile environment, I will not send my people to in harm's way. I will not do that. That is me. I can go as a politician alone, you know. But why would I send? Look at how Lydia looks like, and Cecilia. These are mothers. I know somebody is going to bring people to beat them. Why would I send them to harm's way? I will not do that. It will be very irresponsible of me to do that. But that is our position as a county
Point
government.
of order, Governor.
Yeah.
It is not fair to cast those aspersions to your residents.
It's not an aspersion.
No. I don't think that it is fair to level that accusation that the residents will visit violence on the ladies there.
Just ask
and,
about the meeting.
If they are violent, I don't think that is gender-based violence, even if it was you.
Ask about the meeting on 7th of April, Senator. You'll get.
No, I was there myself.
No, 7th of April, you're not there.
The one
of April, 2025.
The one in 2023, the one that happened at the social.
I'm saying Charter Hall. A few weeks ago. And I will send you, actually, do you have some videos of that meeting? I'll just send to you, and you can see. And you'll see people who you can recognize here.
Which is why I say, the chair, I hope Governor can get this. You and me can go and be beaten in
Of
Lumumba.
course.
Let's go. That's why I'm saying, let's have this meeting there in Lumumba.
Chair, let me proceed. Lumumba, again, let me not go into the detail of the meetings that were had. I think 15th February 2021, NMS. And remember, by the way, all these governments that have engaged with you is the same government. Government exists in perpetuity, you know. So whether it was NMS or the city council before ETC, public participation doesn't start afresh in 2022 with a new administration. It is the same. But we will not do it in perpetuity. We have to move. We have to deliver. You know, and Chair, it cannot go on forever. That is the point I was making. The LR number is 2097141. That is the LR number of the 290 acres. it exists. And Chair, we will just please share also the copy of the title for them to distribute it. The reservation is for the specific estate. The mother title is to 90 acres. That mother title includes markets, it includes dispensaries, it includes health centers. We're not doing urban generation on health centers. But the title that you create then that reservation for Ofafa Maringo, for instance, the number of